a bit of a risk. We decided to start talking about mental health and men and business. Now, if you're a business owner and you kind of want to say to someone, look, I don't feel too well, I'm feeling a bit kind of depressed, it's a brave business owner that does that, because your customers aren't going to want to buy from you, your suppliers aren't going to want to get stuff from you, and the rest of the business community start to drift away a little bit. So we decided that we needed to kind of build on what was already out there and do some work around that. We wanted to share our wellbeing knowledge. Again, there's a whole breadth of information out there, but again, it doesn't cross over. So there are multiple agencies in the Waikato that do some really, really good work, but have very little connection with the business world. We approached men with stories, or had stories and wanted to tell them and share with others. There are actually a lot of people out there who really want to share what they've done so other people learn from that. And we all like telling stories. It's actually something that we really enjoy. We got a group together, as we said, around people who were interested in what we were doing, and we actually have a number of business leaders involved in that. So we kind of went to the business community and did it as a business-to-business way, not a social service way. We created a plan, and we're using a lot of social media. So we have Facebook pages, we have a YouTube channel, we're in LinkedIn. I haven't quite got my head around Twitter, so I'm not as kind of young as I thought I was. But really trying to find a different way of putting a health message out there. What we found when we've looked at some of our web stats is a lot of people go online in the evening. And for guys, it's kind of like, if no one knows I'm doing it, then I'll go and look. So it kind of, you can look on the site and no one really knows what you're looking kind of for. You can go when the family are asleep, and so again, it still keeps that little bit of kind of safety. We didn't ask for anything really. All the people that came together over this just kind of decided it was a good thing. We weren't going out asking for money or looking for people to sponsor what we did. We just thought it was something that needed to be done. And we talked about men, or we talked to men around what interested them, and there's some of our surveys at the front there. We surveyed around 60 people, 60 guys, around what kind of things interested them and what issues there were. So we asked a lot of questions indirectly. So we asked a lot of the key kind of mental health questions without asking, do you think you've got depression? We asked, what's your sleeping patterns like? Are you sleeping well? Do you have a lot of disturbed sleep? How do you eat? Do you look after yourself? Do you exercise? Do you feel lonely at times? And actually about 50% of people said that they didn't speak to other people about their problems, whether it was work-related or personal. So we actually found there was a lot of kind of isolation out there. But by asking questions in a slightly different way, we got some really good responses. And HisBiz kind of went live in July, so this took us about 18 months to get to where we are now. We're only really at the beginning. So what we've done so far, we've got the virtual connections, where people don't need to meet us, speak to us, or do anything apart from click on and have a look. So they can access information without needing to go and tell someone they need to access that. So we developed a website and launched. We've got a YouTube channel, we've got a Facebook site, we've got the LinkedIn. We promote other events such as this one and some other things. And again, that knowledge sharing via the web. And we've got some really kind of big business people on the website writing and talking. We've got the chairperson of Public Speakers New Zealand, a woman called Hannah Samuels, wrote a piece a couple of months ago around reputation and branding. So we're kind of connecting in and making it a very kind of business-to-business thing. But of course, people still like to connect in reality as well. So we've got a Movember team, which I've got the evidence of slightly on my face. We've got 18 people in that team, from Auckland down to Wellington. Currently, we're ranked 24th in the country, raised so far about $3,200 from the team. We talk and turn up to other people's events and just kind of, I've become quite a shameless self-promoter about different things. We've had a couple of blokes breakfasts, which John's turned up to a few. We had our launch event, which was actually, we had a comedian and a band to launch the website. We connect and share info. This month, the HisBiz website is actually the site of the month for the Equal Opportunities Trust newsletter. And we've just developed some promotional material which I've started to hand out, and the banners and things like that. So that's just a picture of our launch. So yeah, fairly well attended. I think we had about 50, 60 people there for what was and still is probably a relatively unknown entity as we begin to build. This is what the website front page looks like. So we've kind of got a broad range of topics. So we've got news and events, real stories, which are kind of guys sharing their own personal stories, sports and rec, health and well-being, business, technology, and a whole heap of other stuff kind of in the background. But those were the things that guys were saying that they were interested in. And so everything we have has kind of got a slight slant towards well-being, but ties into all of those topics. So this is a copy of one of the real stories. The guy on the screen is a guy called Johnny. He's currently the guy in the Light Minds campaigns. So the new Light Minds TV campaigns, Johnny's the current guy in that. And he works for a service we know up in Auckland. He's been on Stars in Your Eyes and a whole heap of stuff. He's been in TV programs and everything. He actually works as a mental health peer support worker. These are some of the wellbeing resources. So you can kind of click through when you've got the wellbeing. It gives links to a whole heap of different stuff. So depression, drug and alcohol, stress. We've got some stuff about financial wellbeing. The financial strains are one of the biggest things that people are struggling with. So our Facebook page. That's when I had my Mr. Mo picture. So on the Facebook page, we try and keep people up to date. We link back to the website. We put a lot of kind of links to news stories coming up that connect to business and well-being, and links to the YouTube channel. So at the moment on the YouTube channel, we've got 3 stories, all from guys kind of sharing their own stories. So pictures of a guy called Nick who set up a biking club down in Rotorua to help people kind of let off steam and go and bike through the mountain tracks in Rotorua, and uses that as kind of a well-being tool for himself. Got a guy called Ian who talks about he runs his own business, so he's talking about kind of what he sees as the dark side of business. He's a consultant, he comes home, so he spent a week away doing all this training, living in hotels, gets home and gets told to put the rubbish out. Kind of, so that whole kind of what you do when you're out and about and then suddenly you've got to go home and everything's back to the mundane, and the stress that it puts on kind of relationships as well. And then a guy called Mark who talks about being a new dad and the challenges that he faced and the worries that he had, right down to simple stuff like, can I afford it, and I can't drive as fast as I used to drive when I didn't have a baby in the back. Real simple stuff that the guys want to talk about and share, but sometimes we just don't, because we don't feel that we can, that we haven't had permission. And a real easy way for people to go and have a look and think that it's okay for them, because none of these guys are talking about any kind of miracle cures, they're just talking about what it is for them. But it's becoming harder and harder at times for us to do that, and again people are using tools like this a lot more to where they get their information, so we're just trying to tap in to that. Now LinkedIn is a bit more of a professional network, so again, because we were targeting the business community, we decided to go down that track, and there's lots of pictures of me, because I tend to put lots of stuff up, but we've got members from the Waikato Chamber of Commerce, a couple of people from Auckland who run kind of executive leadership stuff. Otago Chamber of Commerce have just kind of signed up as well. So really trying to get into that business world and kind of make that business world think a little bit more around what it is to run well businesses and actually be well yourself to run a good business. All the links are on our webpage, so if you don't want to kind of squint at the screen, you can just log on to HisBiz later. So what's next? And I think this will be part of the ongoing conversation, especially with the stuff after the next presenter, is that we really want to look at what we can do within the Waikato community first. We've got a lot of potential to go kind of broader, because with the web and stuff, it's not just kind of here, but actually what we want to do is get a bit of a men's hui together in the Waikato to bring together existing men's groups and support networks. As I said, we're not about repeating everything that's already done. A lot of what we are really focused in is about connecting those groups up together. So kind of one of the big things for me, wouldn't it be great if we had like leaders of the business world and leaders of men's groups within Waikato all sitting in the same room kind of talking about what the issues are. And we've been fortunate enough actually to get some funding from Trust Waikato to try and make that happen next year. So really keen to hear people's ideas around that. Last year or early this